As the story goes, John Williams was busy with the scoring schedule of Catch Me If You Can, Attack of the Clones, and Minority Report, all which came to theaters in 2002. So we had William Ross copy and paste the first movie's soundtrack and then work with 3 other orchestrators to incorporate any new themes John Williams wrote that summer. Well, this is mostly true of what really happened, so let's break down the score to the Chamber of Secrets. First, Attack of the Clones and Minority Report were done by the summer, so they weren't actually a conflict for Williams, but Catch Me If You Can was. The main falsehood about the story for the soundtrack, though, is that it wasn't just a copy and paste from the previous year. While music was directly lifted from certain scenes, it was rewritten out by the orchestrators and recorded again for the sessions. Going off of the wording from the physical CD release, William Ross adapted the music by John Williams. There are sketches leaked from the Chamber of Secrets that have John Williams' name on it, but I can't confirm if those are there for copyright reasons or if it was John Williams that actually wrote them. For the majority of the score, except for one source stating that John Williams did most of it, it appears William Ross sketched out the cues and then Conrad Pope and Eddie Karam orchestrated out the cues for recording. Pete Anthony is listed as an uncredited orchestrator, but his name isn't on any of the cues for the film that I've seen. And while on that topic, the first Harry Potter movie, there are a ton of orchestrators listed, but the cues only have the names of Conrad Pope, Eddie Karam, and Larry Wrench. I'm not sure why that is, perhaps they just had a different role like a copyist, but I don't have a way to confirm. Now, John Williams did write new themes for the film, those being In addition to cues being reused, the themes from the first film are used as well, with the main theme, or Hedwig's Flight, and the B theme, or the Nimbus 2000, making sense in their random uses as well as the family portrait where appropriate. But for the others, that just isn't the case.
Welcome home. Go and get our stuff then.
What are you talking about, Miss Tracy?
You're going to expel us, aren't you? You better stand back. By the way, Harry, happy birthday.
Harry! Hagrid!
Hello, Hermione.
Oh, it's so good to see you.
Oh, it's great to see you too.
Oh, I was looking for a flesh-eating slug repellent. They're ruining all the school cabbages.
The Gryffindor theme, or Hogwarts Forever, seems to be absent from the Chamber of Secrets, as is Fluffy and his harp, which that one actually kind of makes sense. So the main issue with the score, though, is the use of Voldemort's theme, or rather the lack of. Instead, they used the Stones theme.
That Hogwarts was founded over 1,000 years ago by the 4 greatest witches and wizards of the age, I think. Do you know, I think he's been petrified. Madam Pomfrey. Perhaps he managed to take a picture of his attack.
Hagrid!
I'm not actually the first person to do this type of analysis with Q references. Partway into researching this film, I noticed that the user Holko over on JWFan Forums did the exact same thing back in 2017. So if you're curious about what music cues were reused in the film, that's a great place to look, as I'm only going to focus on specific references here. I do want to highlight one that was missed by Holko though, and that's the music for Nocturne Alley being the same as when Harry and Malfoy are being sorted in the first film.
Not lost, are you, my dear?
I'm fine, thank you.
Difficult, very difficult. Plenty of courage, I see.
Other curious ones would be when the Masons arrive scene having music similar to The Last Crusade.
Now, let's go over our schedule once again, shall we? When the Masons arrive,
Also, music from Devil's Snare, that was reused many times throughout the film.
Thank you.
Same with the chess music.
I don't think you meant it to kill anyone,
you can't. You don't understand.
but the dead girl's parents will be here.
Now what do we do? It's obvious, isn't it? We're gonna play our way across the room. It had to be a Gryffindor. Nobody else knows our password. Unless it wasn't a student.
The Flying Keys music makes sense with the Pixies, I think. And of course, there's the well-known example from the Quidditch music being the Zam chase in Attack of the Clones from earlier that year. According to Holko's calculation, 52% of the film is new material, and it certainly did seem like the majority of it was a copy and paste, but that really only happened about 26% of the score, and the rest of it being reworked for the scene used, exactly as you'd expect in a sequel. It's a very cool breakdown, and while I'm not entirely certain of how much of this is John Williams that wrote it himself, I do find it interesting that more material from the Chamber of Secrets and Fox themes weren't used in the film, but they at least made their way into the credits. Unfortunately, live performances stop right before those new materials appear, and the reason why is it's to keep the concert under 3 hours, including a 20-minute intermission. Seems unfortunate in my opinion, but I'm not sure how general audiences would feel with about 7 minutes more music at the end. I've heard from a few people that the Chamber of Secrets was their favorite soundtrack of the series, and I wonder if it's because of the adaptation of the music from the first film that gave it a sense of familiarity, or if it's just something else. For me personally though, the Chamber and Fox's themes are some of my favorites that John Williams wrote despite not entirely being in the film. I wonder what the score would have been like if he had more time to work on it himself. We will never know, but at the very least, we got some great music.